Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH the Flame Emperor episode number 202 based on novel. So let's start. Be careful, the bottom of this blood river pond is full of ghosts, and this riverbed can stand here all year round. It is not an ordinary thing. Soul Eater said quietly. Yes. Xiao Yan naturally knew the danger here, but with the treasure in front of him, there was no reason to back down. Crash. An extremely tyrannical ghost energy restrained Xiao Yan, causing him to continuously release the huge power of holy flame and soul to resist. At this time, the bottom of the blood river pond had already turned into a dazzling jet black, surrounded by countless powerful ghosts. Even Xiao Yan felt a sense of powerlessness. I can't take action in my current state, otherwise it will disturb some of the great powers in the blood river, so you can only take action yourself. And I see your breath, it seems that the suppression of you here is very strong. We must hurry up, our time is limited. The soul-devouring talisman floated in front of Xiao Yang and said slowly, I know. Xiao Yang said coldly, and then with the help of holy flame and the package of soul power, he gently swam towards the riverbed below. Boom. And when Xiao approached within 3 feet of the riverbed, a feeling of repulsion that strangers should not approach, directly sent Xiao Yang flying. Damn it. Although Xiao Yang had already defended against the riverbed, how could he know that it was within 3 feet of its attack range? Moreover, Xiao Yang was wrapped in khaki-colored holy flames just now. With the addition of his soul power, he formed a circle of protection around his body. All such means were instantly thrown dozens of meters away by the mysterious power of the riverbed. Although I don't know why, this riverbed seems to be a rare treasure. Xiao Yang gently adjusted his body aura, and then said softly, Are you alright? Soul Eater asked. It's alright, but the riverbed seems a little weird. Xiao Yang Zaidu came to 5 feet from the riverbed and said softly, This riverbed is really mysterious. Even with my experience, I don't know about it. Soul Eater had no other idea for a while, so he could only talk. No, we can't go on like this. The ghost energy here is so strong, and the pressure on me is too great. Under this pressure, whether it is the power of the soul or the power of the holy flame, it is consumed too quickly. If we go ahead like this, I'm afraid something will happen. After a while, Xiao Yang's pupils flashed a serious look and said, What can you do? Soul Eater asked. There is no way, but you can try it. After Xiao Yang finished speaking, he took off the ancient ruler of the eternal fire behind him, and then the khaki-colored holy flame appeared at the same time. The power of the ancient ruler of fire. This ruler is a good ruler. The Soul Eater talisman said, and as holy flames appeared on the ancient ruler of eternal fire, the strange ghosts around them all retreated, as if they were extremely afraid. Fire. Break it for me. Although Xiao Yang didn't know that these ghosts were so afraid of the ancient ruler of eternal fire, he didn't hesitate immediately. The ancient ruler of eternal fire suddenly lifted up and shot directly at the riverbed below. You little devil. Be careful and smash the 3 treasures below. The next moment, the Soul Eater scolded secretly, which was extremely painful. Don't worry, I'm measured. Xiao Yang said coldly, then looked at the giant energy ruler below. The giant energy ruler just got out of Xiao Yang, and immediately came into contact with the bright ghost energy, but luckily there is the existence of holy flame, so it roared directly towards the riverbed below. Boom boom boom. In just a few breaths, the giant ruler directly hit 3 feet in the riverbed, and then a shattering sound slowly sounded. That riverbed is an extremely narrow space. Xiao Yang, take advantage of this gap and hurry in. The Soul Eater talisman also found that with the riverbed as the center, a 10-meter radius was filled with white cracks, as if Xiao Yang was strengthening his attack a little bit, and it would shatter. And go. And the riverbed that was about to be shattered when countless ghost chi occurred, also exuded bursts of extremely greedy aura, waiting for the crack to shatter, it would suddenly pour into it. Space teleportation. And Xiao Yang also knew the importance of the matter, he whistled directly, and then his figure suddenly disappeared. When he appeared the next moment, he was already standing on the riverbed. As for the huge energy ruler, it was taken by Xiao Yang. Dissipated away, but Xiao Yang was also choked by the pit. The riverbed was filled with aura that was about to shatter, making people shudder. That feeling, as if standing in a square glass, the glass outside is full of white cracks that are about to shatter. Once broken, I am afraid that these powerful ghost chi will cause a lot of pressure on Xiao Yang. Finally came in. I just didn't expect that this place is still a small space. Xiao Yang wiped the sweat from his forehead and said, Strange, Why is there an extremely gentle feeling under your feet? It seems that my power of life and death is being nurtured, and the power in my body is also increasing very slowly. Xiao Yan couldn't help but said. Indeed, and that ghost chi's suppression of you has disappeared without a trace. At this moment, the Soul Eater talisman appeared directly in front of Xiao Yang and said, "What's going on?" Xiao Yang asked. "I don't know either, but it seems to have something to do with the thing under your feet," Soul Eater said, keeping his eyes on the blood riverbell in front of him. Riverbed? Xiao Yang naturally knew that soul fighting skill and blood riverbell were in front of him, so he was not impatient, but shifted his gaze to the riverbed under his feet. The space was not big, the riverbed was about 10 meters in diameter, so Xiao Yang squatted down gently, wiped the riverbed, and suddenly found that the always dark riverbed actually glowed with a hint of emerald green. Do not care. This riverbed must also be a treasure after the soul fighting skill and the blood riverbell are taken away, they will be taken along with the riverbed. Xiao Yang said directly, and he was not exploring the emerald-colored riverbed after he finished speaking. Is this the Xuehe Ling at the end of the 12 evil soldiers in the ghost realm? Xiao Yang got up slightly and said to the Xuehe Ling, who was full of extremely eerie blood energy in front of him. Yes, that's exactly what it is. However, although the blood riverbell is extremely powerful, every time it is used, it requires a lot of blood energy. And this power of blood is, to put it bluntly, the blood of your human beings. Soul Eater said quite fiery. No wonder the grievances between the ghost world and the human world are so deep. Xiao Yang naturally nodded after hearing this. Hey, although we have a lot of grievances between the ghost world and the human world, after you humans die, you will either go to or go to heaven, but most of the guys who have been damaged by others will enter our ghost world. Become the weakest monster. So you humans hate us ghosts, but in the end you turned into ghosts, which is really ironic. Soul Eater said. Okay, you put this thing away, remember to keep it carefully, don't let others find it, otherwise you and I will have to finish playing. Xiao Yang said, as for the 3 souls and 7 souls, hell, heaven, ghosts, etc., there is absolutely no such thing. Care too much? No problem. Hearing this, the Soul Eater talisman did not shirk. A ghostly aura emerged directly and then swallowed the blood riverbell directly, but Xiao Yang didn't notice that as the blood riverbell was swept away by the Soul Eater talisman swallowing it, the breath of the Soul Eater actually recovered a bit. The next thing is this soul fighting skill. Seeing that the Soul Eater talisman had put away the blood riverbell, Xiao Yang suddenly looked away and looked at another silver scroll surrounded by cyan light. Hey, kid, although this is a true soul fighting skill, but in my opinion, the level of this fighting skill is probably enough to rank at the pinnacle of Holy Tier fighting skill, and a soul attack at the pinnacle level of Holy Tier might be among the Do Emperors, can achieve one-hit kill, can be described as a real killer. But there is one thing I want to remind you, although your soul power has soared to the peak of Do Di, and you are only 1 level away from the Fairyland, the creator of this spiritual fighting skill at the peak of the holy level will only be stronger than you. If you succeed, it's fine. If you fail accidentally, I'm afraid your soul will be destroyed in an instant. So, do you still want to practice? The Soul Eater talisman said to Xiao Yang vigilantly, sensing the scroll of soul fighting skills with the power of destruction in front of him. Senior, don't worry, Xiao Yang, are not greedy for life and fear of death. And I know that if you want to get something, you must pay first. Furthermore, I don't believe that I can't do anything about it. Xiao Yang finished speaking, his eyes firmly looking at the scroll in front of him. What the Soul Eater talisman said just now is not unreasonable, just from the perspective of the outermost soul power, it is almost the same as himself, and Xiao Yin vaguely feels that this riverbed has existed for a long time. This soul, the strength can still maintain the peak of the Emperor's realm under the erosion of the years, which is enough to explain the tyranny of this soul fighting skill. Then let's start. Don't worry, I will protect the law for you. Although my current strength is less than 10, but with Soul Eater and Blood Riverbell, even if it is the worst plan, I can protect your soul. Soul Eater said firmly. Thank you. Xiao Yang said softly. Obviously the reason why the Soul Eater talisman was like this was that he had just helped him obtain the Blood Riverbell, but it still warmed Xiao Yang's heart. Soul power, come out. Xiao adjusted his breath for a short time, and then let out a loud drink. As soon as he finished speaking, Xiao Yang's whole body was suddenly filled with an unusually large amount of soul power. I am afraid that some 9-star fighting emperors who specialize in soul cultivation have never possessed this level of soul power. Go! With his eyes closed gently, Xiao Yang controlled his soul power and walked away towards the blue light that wrapped his soul fighting skills in front of him. If you want to cultivate soul fighting skills, after all, You must first obtain the approval of the outermost cyan soul power, otherwise everything is just nonsense. Xiao Yang's soul power just emerged above the blue light, and suddenly the blue light burst into a monstrous suction, which directly swallowed and absorbed Xiao Yang's soul power. Damn! If it goes on like this, sooner or later, you will be sucked into an adult. Xiao Yang cursed secretly, and then the soul force in his body suddenly formed a miniature energy python on top of his head. Cece. The soul energy python let out a roar, and then quickly rose up, directly opening its hideous snake mouth, and biting away at the blue light. Bang bang bang! The energy python directly bit on the blue light, and then the blue light that continuously devoured Xiao Yang's soul power suddenly shook, as if he had suffered some damage. But the next moment, the soul energy giant python also dissipated in an instant. Sure enough, the manipulation of soul power is still too unfamiliar. Xiao Yang shook his head and said a word, and then he condensed a miniature python in doo-doo, and just like before biting away at the blue light. And with Xiao Yang condensing the energy of the mini python one after another, the seemingly powerful cyan light was finally unable to hold on, and it shattered with a loud bang. The blue soul light that protected the soul fighting skill disappeared instantly, and then Xiao Yang sat down with his butt. Obviously, while the soul power was being swallowed up, he condensed the soul python to attack the blue light, which gave Xiao Yang a lot of money. Pressure. Haha, what a terrifying kid. The Soul Eater talisman on the side looked at Xiao Yang's appearance, but didn't alarm him, because the Soul Eater talisman knew that it was too much for him just now, so let him rest now. Fortunately, the power of the blue soul has been eroded by the years, and it has long since collapsed. Otherwise, this soul fighting skill would have been wasted. Xiao Yang laughed for a while, then got up and said, "Next, it's time to harvest. Learn this soul fighting skill, with your current strength, let alone 3 days of Shenling royal family. I am afraid that the real 8-star fighting emperor can't resist your move." Soul-devouring talisman burst out. Foul language. En. Xiao Yang also sensed it, and slowly agreed, then without hesitation, he stretched out his hand and held the silver scroll tightly in his hand. Wong buzzing. Just as the silver scroll was held by Xiao Yang, an extremely powerful repulsion immediately emerged. "The power of your soul that protects you has already surrendered to me, you should not resist too much." Xiao Yang shook his head and smiled. "I want to see how strong this soul fighting skill is." Xiao Yang laughed, and then the dazzling soul power directly emerged, and at the same time, both hands slowly opened the silver soul fighting skill scroll. Boom boom boom. Just as the silver scroll was opened, a monstrous and tyrannical aura suddenly emerged, even a phantom, standing directly on the silver scroll. Above the phantom, it is almost transparent, but there is a magnificent aura of the supreme king in the world. Plop. With the appearance of this phantom, the enormous pressure directly made Xiao Yang's body heavier. If it wasn't for Xiao Yang's firmness of heart, he would probably kneel down instantly. It's so strong. And this near-transparent phantom in Xiao Yang's eyes was a different existence. He knew that this phantom was condensed with soul power. What a tyrannical guy, this kind of strength. I'm afraid it is also full of the level of 4-star fighting immortals. The Soul Eater talisman on the side couldn't help but exclaimed. Saint rank peak soul fighting skill, Yu Mingtian. The spirit is the main thing, and the soul is the attack. This skill is about the power of a single blow. As soon as the quiet voice came out, the world was in a trance, and with the dazzling characters that appeared on the silver scroll, the ghost shadow on the scroll was slowly rehearsing. The soul phantom in the scroll slowly closed its eyes, but Xiao Yang noticed that at this moment, a dazzling soul force slowly condensed in his body. Bang bang bang! Just when Xiao Yang was puzzled, a silent attack suddenly appeared towards the narrow space outside the riverbed. Boom boom boom! With a mere blow, the dazzling ghostly energy at the bottom of the entire blood river pond was instantly wiped out. The entire blood river pond is rapidly recovering its blood color, and the strange ghost energy has disappeared without a trace. And Xiao Yang's pupils, also at this moment, slowly closed. Obviously what the phantom just practiced was this soul fighting skill. Damn! What's the matter? This movement seems to come from the bottom of the pool. And when the ghostly energy disappeared without a trace, Yang Kai, located 500 meters away in the blood river pool, suddenly shrank his pupils, obviously found something. This movement, is it Big Brother? And Xiao Yi also sensed the movement in the depths of the blood river pond and couldn't help but say, Xiao Yang. Mu Yingying had just broken through, and she felt this huge movement and couldn't help but move her beautiful eyes. Go up first. When he realized this huge movement, Yang Kai also made a decisive decision and said something directly to Xiao Yi and Mu Yingying. As soon as the voice fell, the three figures suddenly appeared and stood in the gap at the top of the blood river pond. Brother, your dark disease? Although Mu Yingying was extremely worried about Xiao Yang, she still asked Yang Kai. It's all right. Yang Kai smiled slowly. What's going on down there? Xiao Yi, who was on the side, also spoke slowly. Obviously, the huge movement below made Xiao Yi feel a little uneasy even with such a 9-star fighting emperor-level strength. The bottom should be the bottom of the blood river pond. I think it was Xiao Yang's movement. There are some rare treasures below. If it hadn't resisted me too much, I'm afraid this kid wouldn't have been cheap for nothing. Yang Kai shook his head helplessly and said. Then let's wait. Xiao Yi felt relieved when she heard the words. Well, wait for Xiao Yang to get out of the customs, let's go look for the 7 people in the Temple of Heaven. After all, the land of Holy Flame should be opened. Yang Kai said. The land of Holy Flame. As Yang Kai opened her mouth, Xiao Yi spoke slowly, but Mu Yingying on the side didn't listen at all. Her thoughts were all on Xiao Yang at the bottom of the blood river pond. On this uneven plain, not far from the 3 Yang Kai, 2 men with rather strange figures also slowly hid their figures. Senior brother, isn't this the guys from Funxiang Pavilion? Among the 2 men, a familiar man said. Funxiang Pavilion? The man who was called senior brother could not help but be surprised when he heard the words. This man was dressed in extremely tattered clothes, but there was a violent aura all over his body, which made people shudder. It's the person from Burning Incense Pavilion. Have you seen that beauty? That's Mu Yingying in the hall of Funxiang Pavilion. Another man said. Hey, 3 people. It seems that God has helped me with the 10,000 poison sect. Senior brother said. These 2 people are the 2 powerhouses of Wandu sect. They are the senior brother Du Mo, who participated in the sect competition last time, and Wang Xie, one of the outstanding disciples. Du Mo's strength is also at the level of Qixing Do DS consummation, and his practice of poison Do Qi hunger is even more consummate. But I see that Mu Yingying and the others seem to be guarding something. Wang Xie's eyes lit up, and he suddenly smelled a trace of unusual breath and said, Where are they? They don't seem to have ghosts, it's really strange. However, the strength of the 2 guys beside Mu Yingying should not be underestimated. According to my estimation, I'm afraid it is also around the late stage of the 7-star Dodi. Senior brother Du Mo said. Go. After Du Mo finished speaking, Wang Xie followed slowly, but Mu Yingying and the others naturally didn't notice it. At the bottom of the blood river pond, Xiao Yang's pupils also slowly opened. Success? Soul Eater hurriedly asked. Obviously the tricks that the Phantom on the soul fighting skill scroll just practiced had given Xiao Yang a lot of inspiration. The Phantom made a soul attack just now, so at that moment, I was also the first glimpse of this soul fighting skill. But I have to say that this soul fighting skill is undoubtedly much stronger than my Huangquan Tianwu. Xiao Yang said with a smile. Hey, that's natural. Although your 3 Huangquan moves are powerful, it is difficult to cause substantial damage against an opponent of the same level. And this soul fighting skill, whether it's power or even rank, isn't it strong? Soul Eater said with a smile. According to my current strength, I am afraid that I only have the power of a single blow. If I use this soul attack, I am afraid that I will instantly draw out nearly 80% of my strength. Of course, this level of attack is undoubtedly enough to easily kill the 7-star Do Emperor in seconds. A complete powerhouse. As for its limit, I'm afraid. Xiao Yang said with a smile. Since the matter is over, it's time to go. I feel that the 3 people with you seem to have gone out. And it seems to be in some trouble, said Soul Eater. Wait. Hearing this, Xiao Yang smiled slightly, then his palm suddenly lifted, and a dazzling suction force directly put the riverbed exuding a trace of emerald light into the receiving ring, and then moved his figure slightly, facing the blood river pond exits. It's been a long time, why hasn't Xiao Yang come out yet? Will something happen? 10 minutes later, looking down at the blood river pond, the pool surface was still extremely calm, and then Mu Yingying said worriedly. Don't worry, I have a connection with my eldest brother, and he is fine now. And I vaguely feel that big brother seems to have found something good below, and the aura in his body is slowly increasing. Xiao Yi said. Hey, I don't know what the 3 of you are doing here. Just as Xiao Yi's voice fell, 2 men with extremely strange figures suddenly appeared in the sight of the 3 of them. People from the Wandu sect. Mu Yingying's beautiful eyes turned slightly, and then she saw Wang Xie, and immediately said. I can't believe that the little beauty still remembers me, I'm really lucky. Wang Xie grinned gloomily when he heard this. Why are you here? Xiao Yi smelled a dangerous aura from the two of them, and immediately said in a deep voice, "I don't know what you are doing here. We just happened to pass by." Du Mo took over this matter and said, "What are we doing here? Need you to ask? If you don't want to die, get out of here." As soon as Xiao Yi's temper came up, it was only the strength of the 7-star Do Di that burst out, and then said to Du Mo. Xiao Yi also kept Xiao Yang's entrustment in mind, otherwise she would not suppress her time and directly release the ultimate power of the Bleeding River. In the early days of the 8-star Do Emperor, I am afraid that these two guys will give a shit. Is the 7-star Do Emperor complete? Give this person to me. Wang Xie, leave those two to you. After defeating them, I believe they will be very willing to tell the information. After Du Mo finished speaking, a violent poison suddenly appeared all over his body, and with the emergence of this poison, the ghosts around him the anger was faintly restless. The combination of poisonous fighting chi and strength of life. Interesting. Seeing this scene, Xiao Yi smiled slightly. Obviously, the combination of poisonous fighting chi and vitality on Du Mo's body, even if he is at the level of 7-star Do Emperor's perfection, is slowly among the strong. Brother, you shouldn't take action now, leave this guy to me. Mu Yingying directly stood in front of Yang Kai and said immediately, "Your breath." At this time, with Mu Yingying's fighting spirit bursting out, Yang Kai also found something wrong and asked, "Well, thanks to Xiao Yang's thing. The middle stage of the 7-star Do Emperor." Mu Yingying smiled slowly. "Be careful, this guy's poisonous fighting spirit is not weak." Yang Kai did not forget to exhort. "En." Mu Yingying agreed softly, and then held the fairy sword in her palm tightly. "These two guys are good-natured. I don't know when the Funxiang Pavilion recruited the disciples. Although that old man's strength is only in the late stage of the 7-star Do Emperor, he is like a terminally ill person who has no fighting power, but it makes me feel a chill. And this handsome man in front of him, the people from the Burning Incense Pavilion who participated in the sect competition last time, except for the 7 people in the Heavenly Palace, haven't all the others already fallen? This guy's strength is that of the 7-star Do Emperor consummation, and where did he come from?" One question after another troubled the senior brother of the 10,000 Poison sect. Hey, distraction when fighting with people is a big no-no. Xiao Yi didn't know what Du Mo was doing, so she swept her figure and attacked him with a dazzling punch. Bang bang bang. Du Mo didn't dare to be distracted when he saw this. After all, the other party was also a 7-star Do Emperor. Immediately, a green battle chi burst out, and then collided with Xiao Yi's attack. "Enjoyed. Come again," Xiao Yi said immediately, looking at Du Mo, who was on a par with her. Of course, Du Mo naturally doesn't know that Xiao Yi has reservations, otherwise, with Xiao Yi's full strength, this Du Mo will probably be instantly killed by Xiao Yi with one move, but Xiao Yi has always been in the Burning Incense Pavilion, and there is not much chance to make a move. So now I plan to play with Du Mo to relieve my boredom. That's what you want. Du Mo smiled when he saw this, because every time he attacked and hit Xiao Yi, a trace of breath would flow into Xiao Yi's body. That was venom. Wait for the right time mature. Once Du Mo is detonated, not to mention a mere 7-star Do Emperor perfect powerhouse, even an 8-star Do Emperor powerhouse will be seriously injured. How could Xiao Yi not know about this thing? But Xiao Yi didn't even use the power of Emperor Yang's flame at this time, but only used the most primitive fighting chi. As for the venom that poured into her body, it had already been burned into nothingness by Emperor Yang. Little beauty. Can't you see that the means are very ruthless? On the other side, Wang Xie and Mu Yingying were fighting. Wang Xie looked at Mu Yingying, who was extremely aggressive, and couldn't help but say, "Wang Xie's strength has now reached the peak of the middle stage of the 7-star Do Emperor, and he is only one step away from the late stage of the 7-star Do Emperor. Naturally, it is not comparable to a guy like Mu Yingying who has just entered the middle stage of the 7-star Do Emperor." But as the battle went on, Wang Xie actually discovered that Mu Yingying was indifferent to his poisonous fighting chi. In other words, no matter how powerful his poisonous fighting chi is, he can't hurt Mu Yingying in the slightest. Aren't Feng Da afraid of flashing her tongue? Mu Yingying held the fairy sword in her hand, cast a slight glance at Wang Xie, and said indifferently. As soon as he finished speaking, the immortal sword in the palm of his hand suddenly lifted up, and he drew 10 lines of sword energy in a row on his chest, attacking Wang Xie. In fact, Mu Yingying is completely ignorant of swordsmanship and swordsmanship, but since the immortal sword has returned to its peak and possessed the artifact spirit, Mu Yingying has been constantly communicating with the artifact spirit, and naturally, she will also use the immortal sword. What a fierce sword energy. At this level of attack, I am afraid it can be compared with those of Genzong. Wang Xie looked at the 10-sword qi whistling towards him, and did not dare to take it at a loss. He had to use poisonous fighting qi to continuously weaken the sword immortal, but in the body, a 7-faced devil with a monstrous poison is slowly brewing. Where are you running? Seeing Wang Xie being chased by her sword energy, Mu Yingying let out a coquettish anger, and then she suddenly chased after her. It's good to come. Go to hell. At this moment, the fear on his face disappeared instantly, replaced by a smile. Not good. At this time, Mu Yingying also realized that she seemed to be fooled by Wang Xie. In Wang Xie's palm, a 7-faced devil plant suddenly whistled away at Mu Yingying. Out of instinct, Mu Yingying wanted to summon the power of holy flame to resist, but it was too late at such a close distance. Not good. And Yang Kai below also suddenly moved up at this time, trying to save Mu Yingying. Go to hell, little beauty. Wang Xie watched his natal method bite directly at Mu Yingying, and seemed to have seen the miserable scene of Mu Yingying being bitten to pieces, so she couldn't help shaking her head. Haha, Wonjuman really likes to use some rude means. At that critical moment, the space around Mu Yingying suddenly wriggled strangely, and then directly stretched out from the wriggling space. A palm wrapped in khaki flames, and Mu Yingying's delicate body was also surrounded by a warm palm. The khaki flame palm stretched out slightly, and then directly grabbed the 7-faced devil plant, and then suddenly smashed it into pieces. At the moment when the 7-faced demon plant was crushed, Wang Xie suddenly spewed out a few mouthfuls of blood. Die. The wriggling void closed slightly, and then a huge ruler flashed out directly, slashing towards the weakened Wang Xie. No! And Wang Xie never thought that he would die in such a bad way. Thank you, thank you. At this time, Mu Yingying didn't know all of this but felt her pretty face get hot, and stammered to the man in front of her. Hee hee. After Xiao Yang heard this, he immediately put away his palm in embarrassment. At the last minute, Xiao Yang used space teleportation and came directly to Mu Yingying's side, but the 7-faced demon plant was about to attack Mu Yingying, so he had to hug Mu Yingying's slender waist with one hand and pulled it away. Distance. The other hand crushed Wang Xie's attack. And the 7-faced demon plant is the lifeblood of Wang Xie. Once the 7-faced demon plant dies, Wang Xie's foundation will be greatly damaged, and then he is easily beheaded by Xiao Yang, and there is no residue left. How could it be possible? On the other side, Du Mo, who noticed that Wang Xie had fallen, also had the intention of retreating. Don't rush to run. After playing for so long, it should be over. Go down and accompany your junior brother, so that he won't be alone. And Xiao Yi said slowly when he saw his big brother appear. After speaking, the aura of the 8-star Do Emperor's initial stage was unmistakable. The limit between the blood rivers, the initial stage of the 8-star Do D. At this moment, Du Mo was completely dumbfounded. Kill and go. Xiao Yang said softly, and then descended directly to the ground with Mu Yingying. Don't kill me. I know the news about the 7 people in your heavenly palace. At this time, feeling the fear of death, Du Mo shouted at Xiao Yang like crazy, because he knew that this seemingly gentle man was the 4 of them. A decisive role in it. Do you know the news about the 7 members of our Funxiang Pavilion Heavenly Hall? When Du Mo's voice just fell, Xiao Yang's figure who had just started walking stopped immediately, and then asked Du Mo with great interest. I know. I can tell you their news and even their specific location. As long as you don't kill me. Du Mo was really scared at this moment. Du Mo had heard some rumors about Xiao Yang, but when he really faced it, he knew how terrible this guy was. Although Wang Xie tried to kill Mu Yingying, there was a mistake in the first place, but this guy Xiao Yang is a devil who only kills without blinking. The power of this kind of ruthless person, even if it is Du Mo, is quite afraid. Okay, let's hear it. Xiao Yang said slightly. One of the 4 members of the Xianling royal family died for some reason. For this reason, the remaining 3 days of the Xianling royal family poured their anger on the 7 people in your heavenly palace. And in the case of the Xianling royal family's continuous search for 3 days, they finally found the 7 people in the heavenly palace of your burning incense pavilion. The strength of the 7 people in the heavenly palace does not seem to be the peak, and when I came over, I already did it. If you guys rush over, I'm afraid it's still too late. Du Mo glanced at Xiao Yang and said slowly, Damn it. Xiao Yang scolded secretly when he heard the words, and then the huge soul roared away directly at Du Mo. Asshole. Xiao Yang, what are you doing? Seeing this dazzling soul force attack, Du Mo couldn't help but feel a fear in his pupils. Xiao Yang, forget it, this guy's status in the Wandu sect is a bit high, so I'll leave him alone. As for that Wang Xie, kill him and kill him. They don't dare to complain. Yang Kai said slowly. Cut the grass without eradicating the roots. Xiao Yang hesitated for a moment towards the rear, and then his dazzling soul power stagnated. Don't worry, the mere 10,000 poison sects are still in the eyes of our burning incense. Yang Kai said. Okay. Hearing this, Xiao Yang nodded slightly. He knew that a 7-star Do Emperor perfection level powerhouse would be extremely terrifying even if he temporarily died to fight back. Where are they? Xiao Yang asked Zaidu. Relying on Xiao Yang's soul power, he knew that what Dumo said now was true. They're on the northernmost hills. Now they are trapped by the Xianling royal family for 3 days, but fortunately they have some protection from the bottom of the box, but they have been faintly injured. Dumo said. Go. This time, they must die. Xiao Yang nodded immediately after hearing this, and then a gloomy killing intent burst out suddenly. I'm afraid it will take a day for us to go to the northernmost hills from here. I hope these little guys can hold on. Yang Kai said. After speaking, the 4 figures of Xiao Yang disappeared directly here, heading towards the northernmost hill. Damn it. I really didn't expect that this Xiao Yang would be so tyrannical, and that handsome man. But I still want to thank you, Xiao Yang. If you hadn't helped me kill Wang Xie, I'm afraid that the attention given to me in the sect would gradually be replaced by him. Since you have done me a big favor, Wang Xie's death this time, I am afraid it is better to say that the Xianling royal family. After Dumo finished speaking, he also slowly laughed, and his voice was full of laughter. Little senior sister, how long will we be with the big army? In an extremely dark place, some disciples spoke slowly. Come on, according to our perception, it seems that the big brother and the others are here. When we meet with senior brother and the others, our situation will also get better. Qin Xin, Ling Xian and Mu Feng, who were headed by them, said slowly. These people are the backbone of the Burning Incense Pavilion, and they are also the disciples who are not as strong as the 7-star Do Emperor, and only the 6-star Do Emperor has entered the first floor of the Blood River. These disciples also encountered many powerful guys in the first floor of the Blood River, among which the Xianling royal family is the most prominent. I don't know why, Qi Haoqing, who has reached the middle stage of the 7-star Do Emperor in the Xianling royal family, did not enter the second floor of the Blood River. The people who hunted the Burning Incense Pavilion, but fortunately, the 3 led by Qin Xin were extremely careful and tried their best to avoid them, so there were no casualties. Meet the 7 people in the Tiandian temple. Everyone, be careful, senior brother and the others should be right in front, but the aura in front seems to be extremely wrong. At this time, Mu Feng said with his mysterious yin-yang technique. Following Mu Feng's words, the other disciples headed by them were also vigilant. They knew that it was because of Mu Feng's mysterious yin and yang exercises that they avoided the hunt of many Xianling emperors. What's going on? Ling Xian and Qin Xin asked Mu Feng at the same time. The 7 people in our heavenly palace are indeed in front, but there are still many powerful breaths ahead. Let's not go over. Mu Feng said with difficulty. Rest on the spot. Qin Xin heard the words and nodded slightly to the strong men in the hall next to her. And as Qin Xin's voice just fell, the hundreds of disciples behind her stopped neatly, then hid their breath and became quiet. Just wait and see. Doesn't seem to be that simple for the hill in front of you. Mu Feng shook his head as he watched the army rest. At this time, they were also thousands of meters away from the hill in front of them. In addition to the fierce ghost in the Blood River, he is not afraid of being noticed by others. And as the Burning Incense Pavilion's troops came to the outside of the hill, there was also an extremely shocking scene being staged in the hill. Second day, all the adults. 3 days, all adults. Outside the hill, outside a conspicuous barrier, a vague figure said slowly to the 2 men. Qi Haoqing, how are things going? Tianhong in red asked a little hesitantly. Those guys in Burning Incense Pavilion don't know why, they have been avoiding us. I didn't find their main force. Qi Haoqing also said with an ashen face, extremely unhappy. It's really trash. My king has given you so many resources, yet you can't find them. Tianhong said with great disdain. What all the adults said in the 3 days is. Although Qi Haoqing was full of killing intent, he could only say with a smile. Okay, third brother. Fenxiang Pavilion has learned from the past, I'm afraid this time will not be as stupid as the last time. But that's okay, we'll kill them together when the time comes. The Xingyi Tianzang, the leader of the 2-day congregation, stared at a few embarrassed figures in the hills in front of them, and spoke slowly, their voices filled with an indifferent sentence. Breath. This video will end here.